Ooh, Derek Thomas and Whitney Houston. That would have been a cool.
You're telling me this isn't a hold? You're telling me this isn't a hold? You're telling me that's not a hold? They throw a flag in the secondary. They should have offset. Mahomes gets the first down. How's that not a hold?
Huge moment. 3rd and 22. Jermaine Johnson at the bottom of your screen being held so blatantly that it's impossible to miss. That's not holding. Nothing has ever been holding. And then here we go. This is another one. 3rd and 20. Whatever you do, don't throw the flag until the ball is picked. Thank you. It's a ridiculously bad call. It cost the Jets greatly.
Each of us has our own unique background and story of how we became a part of Chiefs Kingdom.
Our reach is far and wide with fans all over the world cheering on our Kansas City Chiefs.
Everyone donning the red and gold has figuratively signed that mutual agreement and come together for one common purpose.
For 76,000 of us at a time to descend upon Arrowhead, man our stations, let out our loudest battle cry to the tune of 142.2 decibels, and make that stadium rock until our opponents beg for mercy.
We are unrelenting in our pride for this city, these players, and this team. This is the show for the allies, Arrowhead Allies.
What is going on, Kansas City Chiefs Kingdom? What do you say, baby?
Welcome into Arrowhead Allies, everybody. It was an ugly win, but we are going to take it. We got the W. We're going to talk about who to blame for the ugly win. Was it Patrick Mahomes? Was it the receivers? Was it the tackles? The defense wasn't as impressive, making Zach Wilson look like Aaron Rodgers, or Patrick Mahomes and him had a Freaky Friday switch bodies moment there. But we took the W. We get out of New York. We were 3-1. Brian, what did you see from that game?
Man, the thing that popped out to me was Isaiah Pacheco. My Lord. What? He is a Tasmanian devil. I mean, the acceleration on this guy. I love the speed, love the power. I love everything about him. But the acceleration on Pacheco, when he turns the juices on and he hits that 3rd and 4th level, and like Chris Sims like to say, he got 3 or 4 rockets up his ass. Oh, baby. Nobody is catching Pacheco.
Brian, you coach youth football. You saw the supposed hold, the Jets fan freaking out right there. You keep the hands inside and you're not going to get called for it. You tell me, my friend, you keep the hands inside. Hey, the defender gave up. He stopped his momentum. We can't help that. That's going to be a no call. I'm good with it. Dean Blandino, we could call his ass right now. You tell your youth football players the same thing, I'm sure, man.
Oh, hands inside where the shoulder pads are. And if you see where that jersey is stretched at, that's where it is. It's tendering on the sleeve, but the way that these uniforms are built, like, it's easy for you to get up under the pads and for it to kind of your thumb to hit that sleeve a little bit. But that's not holding. Holding is when you're on the outside. You're on the outside shoulders, or when you have a hug on a guy, when you're wrapping your arms, so to speak. Hands inside, the technique is here. You can see his thumbs are up. He's good, man. That I didn't see that was a hold at all. I just thought he had him hemmed up like Michael's here on downtown Kansas City, hemming up pants since the 1920s or whatever. But no, I didn't see that as a hold. And like you said, Clint, hands inside, man, he's good.
And Jermaine Johnson just kind of quit on the play and gave up and was slapping Donovan Smith in the face. He
looking for a flag.
Yeah, he didn't keep working. You want a flag? Keep working, create the hold, but he didn't. He gave up.
Yeah, it was, the Chiefs are just to that point, man, where everybody is going to find a way to hate on what the Chiefs are doing. And that was one of the issues. People are acting like it was just crazy, like it was 10 flags to 4. It was 5 flags to 5 to 7, and their flags actually the Chiefs were 5 penalties, 46 yards. Jets were like 7 penalties, 42 yards. So it didn't come down to that. They had a chance to go down and tie it and score. Zach Wilson fumbled. They had multiple chances on 3rd and longs, and their defense, which is the best part of the team, couldn't get Mahomes off the field and allow him to run for first downs. That's why the Chiefs were able to finish that game out. And like Brian said, shout out to Pop, man. He was looking amazing. This is what I was waiting for. I told everybody before the season, I expect him to have that jump, become a 1,000-yard running back. Hopefully this is the start of that. So shout out to the Chiefs.
Yeah, we got some more penalties here. You can keep talking, Shane, but I'm just going to start here with the Jawan Taylor, and then we'll see the Derek Nottie, and then the Sauce Gardner hold. But you can keep going, Shane.
Okay, when you look at these plays, especially, it's not good for Jawan Taylor because he's been the guy getting the flags all season. The specific definition of this penalty, it was something that I learned because it looked like if the volume was turned down and they said there was holding on Jawan Taylor right here, I would have said, yeah, it looks like holding, but I didn't know there was a rule if he would have started the holding penalty in the end zone that it wouldn't have been a holding penalty or hands to the face penalty or whatever. But look, from the optics, it looks like a holding penalty. So I understood why it was a safety, specifically to the last 5 minutes of the game. It seemed like the refs did get flag happy. I turned to my wife and I said, man, these refs are all of a sudden calling flags left and right. But specifically to that last play that the Jets were complaining about, the defensive back's hands were around MBS's neck and his head. So I understood why that flag took place. Yeah, there it is right there. So I understood why there was a holding specifically to there. But there was a lot of other calls. I don't know if you have video specifics to it where the refs just called bad plays. They called a horse collar on Derek Nottie that wasn't a horse collar. He was, look at that. That was the horse collar when they went to the ref in the booth for NBC. His name of that gentleman escapes me.
Terry McCauley.
And he said, no, that's not a horse collar because he went up the front. So, but they conveniently.
Brees Hall is face masking Derek Nottie.
Yeah, while he's face masking Derek Nottie that was conveniently missed. Mike Dana had his head ripped off on the touchdown pass.
His helmet or his head?
It looked like his head because Justin Reed stepped over it and tripped over it while trying to cover his guy that beat him for the touchdown, which was conveniently missed. And it was missed and not even talked about. In this play here where Derek Nottie is getting his face jabbed, that wasn't talked about either. So as Carl Peterson always said, you got to be better than the opposition and you got to be better than the refs. And the New York Jets weren't on Sunday night.
I want to go back to that. I want to go back to that safety. Can we go back to that, please? Because so this was illegal hands to the face penalty, right? Or
it was just a face mask.
Okay, so even Chris Collinsworth was confused with Terry McCulley's explanation because he's saying, okay, well, when the initial tug and pull of the face mask happened, he started tugging it at right there at that point. That's when he initially put his hand on his face mask at the 2. They're at the 1 right there. And that's when he started to tug it. And that's when the penalty should have been called. It should have been called in the end zone, which resulted in the safety and turned the entire game, or it literally flipped the entire game around. The Jets went on to almost tie the game after this. I think they went on a run or whatever.
Yeah.
But the point, but Chris Collinsworth was even struggling to understand this call specifically because he started tugging it before he went in the end zone. And as Terry McCauley was trying to explain it, Chris Collinsworth, he's starting to tug it right there. So why is it a penalty? And it was never really a clear explanation. It was just a lot of missed calls that I think some of these calls, like these plays, this one and the horse collar, to where it's really bang, bang on the field and the refs can't see everything, those should be reviewable. There's no reason why it shouldn't be a quick review. Be like, hey, was that a horse collar or that actually happened outside of the end zone?
Yeah, New York should be handling that. That's what I was trying to ask Dean when we had him on. It's like, is there not something where New York can say, hey, you guys got that wrong, fix that. It's not a holding in the end zone.
They can easily do it. It's just that they don't have that ability. Like they don't say like, okay, we're going to make this available for penalties. They can just call in your ear and stuff. It's just for certain things like yardage and simple things that they miss that New York will get in their ear. Like, oh wait, that was an incomplete. That we look at that New York incomplete pass. Oh, that should have been on the 35 or we're spotting the ball back. But Jawan Taylor needs to be better, and I think he's going to achieve something. I mean, we're breaking records all around here. Travis Kelce's breaking records. Patrick Mahomes is breaking records. Jawan Taylor's going to break records too, guys. 10 penalties in 4 games. He's just got to get 15 more penalties the rest of the way to break Brandon Browner's 2015 record of most penalties in one season. We're just 15 away, guys. I think we can do it. We've got a good start here. It's just 4 games, 1 month of the season down. Jawan Taylor's he's ahead of the pace right
I'm
here.
a believer, guys. I'm a believer in this. I also think that it's funny how, we've seen things go against the Chiefs so many times in the years past. There's not a national outcry because the Chiefs are the Darth Vader of the National Football League. We're seeing it play out. Taylor Swift's in the booth. The Jets fans hate it. They're booing Taylor Swift ads on the big screen. Every call's going against them. God, it's funny. I remember in the 2019 AFC Championship game, Chris Jones getting called for a phantom roughing the passer where he grazed Tom Brady's chest. We brought it up to Dean Blandino. I don't know, December 2021 against the Cincinnati Bengals when there's a late holding call that keeps the Bengals drive going endlessly and lets them just kick a field goal as time expires. It happens for us. It happened in the Super Bowl. We were able to do it. It's the National Football League. It happens. And you're telling me if the NFL is trying to write a script, trying to do this for somebody, you would think they would be for the Jets at home in New York City on Sunday Night Football. Let's have them have a resurgence, get them back, their momentum going, but not to be because the Chiefs are that team. And I kind of relish in it. And I'm okay with it because you go to Twitter afterwards, people are lighting up, going nuts. I say bring it on. You don't even have to defend it. What we're doing right now is leading too much credence to a lot of the stuff that goes on. You lose, you move on. Chiefs will have stuff go against them as well as the year goes on.
Oh, Clint, you got the right shirt on for this, baby. I love the Kansas City heel turn. A la of July of 1996.
Yeah,
when Hulk Hogan did the unthinkable and switched to the dark side. Oh, I love it. I love all the heat. Bring it on. You want to know why? Because we had, like you just said, we had to sit through this. 4 years we had to sit through this. We had to sit through the Steelers dynasty. Okay, we had to sit through the Niners dynasty. We had to sit through the Cowboys dynasty. We had to sit through Tom Brady for 20 plus years.
The Broncos winning 2 straight.
Every single cause. Man, look, I don't want to hear nothing from nobody. We deserve this. And damn it, it's not like it's super egregious. It's not like they just made something up. These things happen. We're not cheating anybody. This is a part of the game. This is a part of football. This is a part of sports. There are missed calls all the time. And there are some times that you get refs who are maybe overzealous sometimes. It is what it is. Like you just named them. There are calls that have gone against us plenty of times recently. So I don't want to hear anything about these phantom calls and people crying all over the internet.
But
get
for
you
these
a tissue
teams,
for your issues.
Brian, for these teams, guys, this is all they have. We lived this. I remember in 1992, John Elway and the Broncos coming back from like a 10-point deficit late in the fourth quarter. And we lived to beat the Broncos. We lived even in 2014. We beat both Super Bowl participants. And those are the games we lived for. That's all we had. We had no postseason success. We had no history. The Jets haven't done anything in so long that you live for those moments. And it's like in a bubble. When you're the Chiefs, it's just business as usual and you move on. Michael, you said it earlier. Yeah. You called that earlier. You know exactly what I mean.
Yeah, and that's what, the Chiefs were doing their part, and I just hate it because the refs aren't throwing flags, just pulling the flags out their ass and just making up these calls. Their calls, don't matter if it's the first quarter or the fourth quarter, Sauce was holding. When you have a guy by his helmet, it's no way that you can't call that. Hell, they even missed on the same play. Noah Gray was almost tackled to the ground in the middle of the field, so they could have called the penalty. Either way, it's just, like I said before, when you are the Lakers, when you are, the Yankees in baseball, now the Chiefs, you're going to get all the hate for everything that goes on. And you just have to love it because we don't hate on a team like the Panthers because
we don't care.
Nobody cares. But when you're the Chiefs, people want to hate and, bring on the hate We are ready for Chiefs Kingdom all day, baby.
Yeah, Mark says, chill on the Jawan Taylor hate. It's only been 4 games. Have you seen how terrible Orlando Brown Jr. looks in Cincy? He's got a point there. I gotta tip my hat to you there, Marsh.
Well, can I hit on that? And Marsh brings up a good point, because I think for the most part, besides these stupid penalties, Jawan Taylor's been pretty solid. Now, on that face mask, though, I want to set the record straight. If you go back and look, he's in a regular stance. Like he didn't take a step back. Like he's like really on the line of scrimmage. He got beat to the outside. And he got beat in almost a similar situation in Jacksonville. Was that Josh Allen or one of the DNs? And it was the play where Andy Reid pulled him out. It was the play after before then. So there have been times where he struggled against those third and longs, those for sure passing situations. Like he struggled in a couple of those situations, but for the most part, man, he's been solid. And a good point about Orlando Brown Jr. because Joe Burrow's running for his life.
Yeah.
Not our problem. Woo!
And shout out to Facebook user who says the thoughts of the timing of the
I love Facebook user.
I'm a motor mouth tonight.
Yeah,
I wanted to hit on that too. It was late.
Yeah, he was late, but the ref was already going into his pocket. He's not 20 years old as a ref, so he can't pull the flag
also
out.
Got to watch the rest of the play. If it's an interception going to the ground, is he going to keep the ball? If I'm throwing,
that's true.
Wait, was that an interception? I wasn't looking, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, I had to see that. I don't know if he caught the ball or not. What happened? So he's still watching the play. Backing up, trying to take out his flag. He threw it. We all saw the call. It was just. You just never know when they're going to throw it or not. And even Patrick Mahomes, how great he is, he said when he got out the pocket, he saw the hold already, so he decided to throw it up to see if MVS can make a play. So it was a hold. I'm sorry, New York. You guys are having a tough year. But, Sauce usually has a sauce on that play. He just didn't have it.
Yeah, in 17 minutes of penalties, I think that'll do it for that. So we are moving on to the defense. Clint, I'm going to throw your graphic up here because the Chiefs defense, well, I said if they gave up 1 touchdown, I'd be disappointed. They gave up 2. So I'm a little disappointed, but I think it might just be a blip. But I don't like making Zach Wilson look like Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Like I said at the beginning of the show before we went on air, even Todd Blackledge had a couple good games in his career when the Chiefs had a really good defense in the early to mid to the late 80s. But I think the defense, the first touchdown drive, the Jets only had to go 42 yards because of the really bad pass that Patrick tried to float to Noah Gray. So, I think when the team gets a short field and they got a touchdown, it's hard for me to blame the defense. And we all watched the same game. Zach Wilson played probably his best game of his NFL career, at least NFL career that I've seen of Zach Wilson. He was putting the ball in the money. Drew Tranquil had good coverage on the tight end the first play of the second half, and he put it right on the back shoulder of the tight end for 25 yards. Then the next play, he had a quick slant for 14 yards, and 2 plays into the second half, the Jets had 1st and 10 at the 36. They eventually went down the field and scored and got the 2-point conversion, and it was ball game. But specifically to the defense, they held out. They held when they had to. The last 3 possessions, the Jets had punt, and a fumble. So when it came down to crunch time, the defense stepped up and basically won the game.
Clint?
Yes. Look, the stat kind of speaks for itself. And the 21 points or fewer, the defense itself is giving up, I think, only 18 points a game because we're factoring in here the defensive touchdown, I think, in week 1 factors into that stat here. And then so, look, just going back to 2022, giving up 30 points or more in the games listed above, and then 2023 so far. And again, you factor in that the Bears were one of them. The Jaguars haven't really found themselves yet. They did come back and get a win against the Falcons here, but obviously the Jets, this is not a game any of us really had giving up 20 points, but the Jets, we talk about it all off season. Everybody here, I think most people, except for me, had the Jets winning the division in the AFC East. No Aaron Rodgers. We're going to forgive that. Things have changed a little.
Look, the Jets beat the Bills, bro.
They did. And they did with Zach Wilson.
Aaron Rodgers played like 3 plays.
Mm-hmm. You're
and
right.
so this
That was a
just
Josh Allen special.
they're not bums though. It was a Josh Allen special. You want to know why? Because their defense is smothering, and we could have put up a 30-piece against them, very easily. But Patrick Mahomes, he very smartly took the knee.
Sorry,
right, so
betters.
don't whatever. Don't forget that though. Forget the betters. We want to get the dub.
Yeah,
don't forget that we could have put a 30-piece on them very easily.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, with the defense, they struggled at times. They did. The penalty sure didn't help. Okay, but you don't see us crying about it. Yeah, we mentioned the horse collar, and that horse collar was big too. Because that was an extendo. That was an extender drive, and I believe they scored on that drive as well.
Mm-hmm.
But man, look, these football games deserve context. It's Sunday Night Football. It's New York. You got all this hype with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. You got the Super Bowl champs coming in. And then Zach Wilson, he's basically fighting for his starting quarterback career right now, man. Like, he's really trying to showcase himself. And they said before the game, Nathaniel Hackett said he's going to let it rip. So, yes, he felt a little more free. He wasn't as mechanical. You saw him running a little bit. So they opened the book for Zach Wilson. Can he do it again?
To end his career and put him to sleep, but
I guess, man. It don't happen. It don't work like that though. Like in this league.
Yeah, it does, because he's garbage.
Not in this league.
Hey, Rodney Harrison.
In this league, it don't work like that in this league.
Yeah,
Man.
and plus you got to think about it. Just the totality of the Jets team. A lot of people saw them as Super Bowl contenders. So I know they're missing their quarterback, but they still have some pieces.
Yes,
they
have a championship defense, man.
Yeah, well, they do.
They have a championship roster. It's just now they have a terrible quarterback.
Yeah, they're just missing the reason that people made them Super Bowl contenders. That's all.
Well, when you have a defense that's solid from head to toe, from their coaching staff on down, from the defensive line, their secondary, they smother, as Brian said. When you have a defense that good, they proved it week 1 when Aaron Rodgers went down after the 4th play of the game. They were down for the majority of that game against Buffalo, 13-3. And who turned it around for them? The defense. Who turned it around for the Jets Sunday night against the Chiefs? The defense. The Jets had that momentum from the 2nd and 3rd quarter, and there was doubt. There was serious doubt, and it felt like the Buffalo Bills game week 1 on Monday Night Football with Wilson as a quarterback. So we're sitting there going, man, Josh Allen threw 2 bad interceptions against the Jets at Jet Stadium against this defense. Patrick Mahomes threw 2 bad interceptions against the Jets. So we're sitting here thinking this game feels eerily similar to that. But the Chiefs found a way. Patrick Mahomes was great running the football. And, he really delivered. Yes, those stats are misleading, or those you flip that upside down. You're like, what is going on here? Is this April 1st or is it Halloween? Well, it was October 1st, but
I was scared. I know that.
When it came down to crunch time, though, Patrick Mahomes won the ball and got good snaps from Creed Humphrey and didn't fumble it like Zach Wilson did. So Patrick Mahomes
did have a fumble in the game.
When he picked up, Randy got the first down. Zach Wilson didn't. Patrick Mahomes won it late with his feet. We should give credit to that because he played terrible. It didn't get into his head. When Alex Smith would struggle or Matt Castle would struggle, it would get into their heads. It would get into their heads, and the Chiefs would cave with the mentality of Matt Castle and Alex Smith.
I guess
Patrick Mahomes threw 2 bad interceptions. He still picked it up and won the game with his feet. Go ahead, Michael.
I guess the only issue that you would say on the Chiefs end, as far as the defense, is that, the Chiefs haven't been able to cause too many turnovers. Only 1 interception, I believe, in the first 4 games. Because last year, Zach Wilson had a 355-yard game versus the Patriots and Bill Belichick, but he threw 3 interceptions. And I think that will be the bigger issue with the Chiefs defense, is that they haven't been able to cause turnovers the way that you would like. And, of course, Snead is great out there. McDuffie is great out there. You will hope that these guys can start getting some interceptions and plays like that to help the offense even more. But, it's kind of like you can't get them both. They're stopping people from scoring is what you want your defense to do. So sometimes you may not get as many turnovers as you would like. But that's the only issue for me, that they weren't able to force him to really cause, forced turnovers. I know he had to fumble late, but that was kind of more on his fault. But the Chiefs weren't able to get any strip sacks and things like that. So that's what you will want to see from the Chiefs defense going forward, that hopefully they can start to cause a little bit more turnovers.
Well, Marsh Turner is cracking me up here. He's got some great comments, and he wants to talk about the receivers. So now's as good a time as any. He talked about you got 7 receivers on this team that combined for 62 yards. Oh, Marsh, come on in, buddy. Take a seat, buckle up, because we'll go there. Noah, we got some good graphics for this, and we will talk about it. There will. This is obviously certainly a glaring weakness right now that needs to be talked about.
Yeah, just here, Carrington Harrison, Sky Moore has now played in 20 regular season games for the Chiefs. He doesn't have a catch in 8 of them. So Sky, we recorded another 0 for 0, the Lions game and now the Jets game. So twice a month, we're just going to get 0 catches and 0 yards from Sky.
That's not going to help Brian's 1,000-yard season. I will say that.
It's not. He's only at like 135 yards. I said 1,000 total yards, by the way.
Well, he had 10. He didn't have 10 against the Jets. So.
Yeah. It needs some work. All right. So look, man, you guys are on point with this right now. You're on the right side because the wide receivers are struggling. They are big time. They can't get open. And you see Travis Kelce kind of getting beaten up on the under by those linebackers. Like they were really putting hands and feet on Travis Kelce. And when that happens, we need somebody else dependable. That was probably why the run game was going so well with Pacheco. But yeah, man, the receivers are struggling, man. Sky Moore's not getting open. Sometimes he stumbles out of his breaks as well at the stem of the route, as you'll see here. Sky Moore getting out
rounded
there.
It off, didn't come back to the first down marker.
Yeah, and you know, it's little nuances like that made the Mahomes and Tyreek Hill connection so special. Because they knew each other probably not as well as him and Kelce, but they were on the same page a lot of times. And they're just not on the same page right now. You got to have sight adjustments on the field. Can you run that back, Noah, for me?
Yeah.
Sight adjustments is, okay, knowing it's a first down, it's right there. Cut your route off. It's a short route.
You're right. Good.
You
Put your
cannot
foot in the grass and get back.
Yes, is that you can't go exactly where that marker is. If he tackles you where the marker is, stretch out and stretch the ball out. You have to make a side adjustment, man. You know these Jets defenders, they're fast and furious, and they're coming at you. This is a very quick route. Boom, cut it off right there at that line. He waited way too late to cut that route off.
And he says he rounds his route off. He curls back into the defender, making it even harder. It's like, what are you doing?
Has to be more sharp. That route has to be sharper too.
And it's not just Sky. Yeah. It's not just Sky either. It's everybody right now. I mean,
it's the entire group, and then it's Patrick Mahomes with the guys because he just doesn't trust all of those guys yet. Like with certain plays I was seeing on the all 22 that Pat took off and run, it was like usually he'll just throw the ball to the guy that's becoming open, but he just doesn't have trust in his receivers right now. So we all knew coming in it was going to take some time, and he was going to try to figure this thing out. He threw the most targets to the rookie receiver in Rice. Who would have ever thought? So a lot of the targets aren't even going to the receiver. Justin Watson, I believe, had 1 target. Sky only had 2 targets. Kadarius Toney had 2 targets that he actually caught the ball this time, but it's coming down to the trust issue. Yeah. And Pat just has to get more time playing with these guys. And I think it's going to take a guy or two to make a big play that has Pat like, I can trust you now. I'm coming to you whenever I believe that you're open enough. And that's what's going to help the receiver group out a lot. Unless they make a move, baby.
I sure hope it's not trust because they spent all offseason working out in Texas and Georgia and Mississippi, all in Missouri. I hope it's not trust, Michael. I know it's easy to think it's trust, but man, these guys have been spending a lot of offseason with Patrick. We had Pat Sr. on here talking about Justin Ross and Sky Moore working out at Patrick's new house with his big yard. And specifically to Kadarius Toney, after that first game of the season, Andy Reid fell on the sword for Kadarius Toney. He said, I rushed him back from his knee surgery. I probably shouldn't have done that. And we've only seen Kadarius Toney in spurts since week 1. We saw him play really well on that one drive when the Chiefs were up 17-12. We had like 2, maybe 3 plays to Kadarius Toney where he looked wow, okay, he's back. He's looking good. And that one pass that kind of fluttered down the right sideline as the ball was in the air, you saw that safety coming, and I felt it. I cringed when Kadarius Toney was diving for the ball because I thought he's going to alligator arms it, but he didn't. He made the catch, and boom, the Chiefs are down there in field goal range, but that was it. That was the last we saw of Kadarius Toney. Now, maybe since Andy Reid saying what he said after the week 1 loss to Detroit, where he pretty much blamed himself, maybe we're only going to see spurts of Kadarius Toney, who's supposed to be the number 1 wide receiver going into this season. So maybe hopefully we'll see more of that, and it'll take less heat off of Sky Moore. But the heat is on Sky Moore. He has to deliver. He was supposed to be the Juju Smith-Schuster replacement. We have spoken in depth about, okay, year 2, Sky Moore's got to develop. He has to develop. The pressure is on him. I myself would like to see Justin Ross on the field. He's only had 2 targets. I don't know what's going on there, but it's a concern. It's a concern going into this Sunday's game at Minnesota.
Noah,
I remember my excitement level meter for the wide receivers early on, and it has changed. It is just hate, double hate, loathe entirely. They stink. And so I don't even bother ranking them 1 to 7 or 6 now that Richie James is gone, unless I want to throw Montreal Washington into that. But yeah, they're over there by the dumpster in an alley somewhere with flies swirling around them.
Where's Bebop and Rocksteady?
Yes, I need them.
Stop it. Your Ninja Turtles reference. All right, look, man. But look, Rashee Rice. It's a bright spot right there. Come on, fellas. Now he's looking like the one that Patrick is really dependent on. To be honest with you, out of that group, but a lot of improvements need to be made, man, because it's going to come a time where maybe perhaps the run game isn't there. Maybe perhaps they're bracketing Kelsey and he's not available. And these guys are going to need to come up with these 3rd and 8s. They're going to need to come up with these 2nd and 5s and not drop passes and run the right routes and make sure that you find those empty cells in the zones. Like, they have to learn these things right now, because when the playoffs come, man, these defense tighten up. Like, the defenses are only going to get better as the season progresses, and especially like after Thanksgiving and we got grown-up football and the weather starts to get bad, these receivers are going to need to get these crucial catches, because these other guys probably going to be covered, man.
Well, Noah, let's go to our focus group.
Yes, I was going to say, don't take our word for it. Clint and I got together. We ran a Chiefs focus group, and so we're going to go to that and see what the people think, the masses. Let's hear what they have to say.
You know, maybe we're being overcritical because we expected him to be better. I hope you're right.
Radical. Really cool. The best, man. Awful. The worst. Someone should wave a skunk in front of him. See?
Well, we still love the Chiefs as a whole. The receivers didn't turn out well for them in the focus group. They're running into some issues. The fans are now turning on them. Maybe Brian and Michael are turning on them. I never thought I'd see the day.
Nah, I ain't turning on them. I keep it real.
Oh, so wait a second.
You're gonna make us pull this
wide receiver disaster of 2023. Are you guys going down with the ship? Because I've got my life vest on. I'm heading for the boat. You can only get on the boat if you turn on the receivers and admit that there's an issue and this is a horrible disaster. Are you playing if the ship goes down, or are you getting on the boat with me?
Hey, there's issues, but there's still time. Like I said coming in that it was going to take some time, especially with Kadarius having no training camp. You would expect more, but people can't forget they just played a very tough Jets defense. It wasn't like they were going to get some bums. Last time they played some bums, they scored 40 points. So, they just have to get it together. And believe me, Andy Reid is coming to these guys. Patrick Mahomes is coming to these guys saying, we need you to step up, or we're going to go get somebody and you won't have any snaps. So we're going to see in these next couple weeks exactly what these guys are about.
Michael, you're going down with the ship. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, even Brittany, look at this. Even Brittany says something smells in here. And Taylor Swift, it's not you. It's the receivers. Oh, yeah.
Are you going down with the ship? I have one life vest left here. It's yours if you want it. Michael, I guess he's turning it down. I only have one left.
Brian, you better man. Shit, man.
Man, in the words of the great band, right here, Earth, Wind, and Fire, RIPs. Look, keep your Let's go.
Wow.
Look that
Don't
song
bring
up,
it
Earth,
down.
Wind,
You're
and
going down
Fire.
the ship. We'll miss you here on Arrowhead Allies throughout the rest
Look,
of the
man,
season.
it's too early, Noah. But I mean,
It's
so
a quarter
far,
of the season.
look,
After week 6.
it's too early, dog.
Oh,
Look,
okay. Week 6 it is.
I'm
Okay.
not
It's going to be
finna
too
put
late for the live
I'm
fest by
not-
then. You're going to be dead.
I'm not putting a date on it. I'm just gonna ride the roller coaster as it goes and have faith that these guys can get better. I try to keep it real at all times. I know potential is a dangerous word. It really is, because you either fulfill it or you don't.
Yep.
But I see a lot of potential in a lot of these guys, man, especially Sky Moore. It seems like he has all the tools. But let's add this context to it too. Andy Reid, wide receiver, it takes him a while to develop, man. It does.
4 years at minimum.
4 year, maybe 5, and now 6.
It does. It does. No, it does, seriously. So this is not an overnight project. Just try to be patient with the young guys. That's
Brian, are you still standing by EBE? Everybody eats.
Well,
because this is what I see when you say everybody eats. This is what I see. George Pickens, DK Metcalf, Tyreek Hill. They have nice, delicious, full prime rib or steak in front of them.
Oh, really? Oh, really? What's the Pittsburgh Steelers record? What is that offense looking like?
But then we got the Chiefs here with each one of them. I mean, technically, you're right. Everyone is eating. But
they're not eating enough.
One pea on a plate. We got
they're malnourished
in the dumpster with a rotten apple.
They're malnourished, man. They're not eating enough. But that's what this offense is designed for. Patrick Mahomes has already hit 9 or 10 people for touchdowns now so far.
Yep.
So yes, everybody is eating. You just gotta save up a little bit.
They're not eating like this.
Wow.
We're going to Mickey Christmas. This is what they're eating. Everybody share. I know we don't have a lot, but everybody's got to share.
You had a time in your Photoshop this week.
He was waiting.
Well, you was looking right. You was looking forward. Did you do this on Sunday night? Did you do this during the game?
I will neither confirm nor deny if I did this during the game. I will neither confirm nor deny.
Even if we disagree, that was good.
Yeah,
you are you are a Chappelle show hater. That's how much better you are.
I will say this, and I think we all will agree on this. The Chiefs, regardless of how bleak things look in October under Andy Reid, always seem to figure it out. I won't go through every October under Andy Reid as a Kansas City Chief, but on Halloween 2 years ago, with Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce, and Tyrann Mathieu and Anthony Hitchens going after Chiefs fans on Instagram and Twitter, your Chiefs stood on Halloween 3-4, dead last in the AFC West, because opposing defensive secondaries were figuring out how to take Tyreek Hill out of the game. It was all gloom and doom. And where did the Chiefs find themselves in January? At the AFC Championship game at home, because they figured it out. We trust Andy Reid to figure out whatever the problem is across the board. If we're having wide receiver issues, I trust this coaching staff with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce to get it figured out, because on Halloween 2 years ago, we were like, man, I hope we can figure out a way to make it to the wild card. Until Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes aren't playing in the AFC Championship game at Arrowhead, then I'm not going to worry about it. And then they've earned our trust, and I'm not going to fret about it yet. But it is concerning. It is concerning why Scott Moore isn't developed, but Andy Reid always seems to take care of his problems. Go ahead, Miguel.
Yeah, that's why I said I believe after week 6. I think if it's not looking the way that we want it, the Chiefs are going to be like, we need to make a move, because
that's a good question. Do you Claypool? Do you do it, Michael?
I stay away from Claypool, because that dude don't even look like he want to play football.
Not for the Bears.
Yeah, not for the Bears.
Maybe for our favorite team.
Yeah,
Claypool looked like he didn't want to play for the Giants either.
Yeah, man.
Claypool seems like the type of guy who want to play just on the winning team. Like if the team is winning, he'll be fine. But if they're losing, you see what's going on.
About it?
He was fine in Pittsburgh.
I do.
I
do. If they don't improve, I do.
Hey, it's one of those Veach specials. Trade a 6th-round pick, comes in and plays amazing. So I think that the Chiefs should be looking anyway, but I think week 6 is really the panic mode, and the Chiefs are going to know we need somebody else that could come in and beat one-on-ones, and they're going to make some type of move. I don't think it's going to be one of those crazy moves like some of the big names that everybody is screaming for, but it's going to be a move of somebody that could come in and that Patrick Mahomes will look better. But I'm going to give these guys until after week 6, because if they're 5-1 and the offense is still averaging like 27 points, I think the Chiefs will stand pat. But if maybe they lose a game because it's like, man, we really need somebody, then, the Chiefs will make a move. But I'm going to give these guys time. Sky Moore last year had a red shirt year. He didn't really play too much, not too many
Played
snaps.
all season.
He had a red shirt year. Kadarius Toney, he's dealing with the toe issue. So
still here. You don't have to do this. It's still here. There's still time. I know the boat just split in half and you're going down, but there's still time. I'll throw it out to you.
It's not fair. I don't want to lose anybody. I don't want to lose an ally, and it would be sad to have to do it.
Man, look. Y'all told me last week that the Miami Dolphins was unstoppable. Okay. And
when they get Jalen Ramsey and don't have Stephon Diggs murdering.
No. Did you make a graphic for this on how much Tyreek Hill ate last week? Where's your little graphic for that? What did you do last week?
You're free to make graphics.
Yeah, they locked his ass up. Yeah, okay. They locked his ass up. I'm just saying, man, it's a new week. Be patient. You never know what can happen. All right, the Dolphins went from 70 to 20. All right, they went from kicking ass to getting their ass kicked. All right, it's an every week thing in the league. Just be patient.
Hey, Sky Moore did catch a touchdown week 2 in a big win versus Jacksonville.
Remember that game in week 2 when Sky Moore caught a touchdown, guys?
The game sealing, catch to really put them away. So, he's showing a little bit. We're expecting more. So hopefully we see more.
Well, like Shane and I've gone back to this. 2021 is a good barometer because that was a team that was really struggling and there was real concern when they were 3-4 and they were kind of playing patty cake with 500 and going a game beyond 500. But guess what, guys? Not here. This schedule, the way this is looking, the way this is shaping up, you got the Vikings coming in. They're the only team Patrick Mahomes hasn't beaten other than the Kansas City Chiefs. I pray to God he never beats the Kansas City Chiefs. It'd be a really horrible day for me. So the Vikings coming in 1-3, and they're a desperate team. They're a disaster. Their defense is awful. You're not going to have the same physicality that the Jets brought. Then you get 2 out of 3 against the Denver Broncos. The Chargers, guys, there is going to be no 3-4 going on here with this team. So if they're struggling going on and we're confused about some of the stats and the receivers and it might be that, but it's going to probably be looking at something like 7-2 or, 5-1 going up here when you're playing the Dolphins in Germany. And all of a sudden that doesn't look quite like the juggernaut that we thought it was. So I'm open for any and all things to happen. Well, all we have to judge though is what we've seen so far and a lot of season to go, like we've said. So
I have come up with a short yardage play for us. You're going to have to stick with me. There's 4 different graphics.
Where's Billy Bob?
So we've seen the tush push that people have been using, and it hasn't worked for anyone but the Eagles. Daniel Jones tried to use it last night and got stuffed. So I've got Catapult Clyde. This is a dangerous play, so I had to think of a player that we didn't mind possibly getting injured, and that would be CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And you've got Niang and Nick Allegretti behind him. He takes the snap. He's got to kind of like sit back into their hands that are on his buttocks, and then they throw him over the line of scrimmage. You got to make sure you don't throw him into a linebacker coming over the top. But then he falls down into the end zone, and we're celebrating. And it's Catapult Clyde. No one's thought of it. It's a new play. Throw a player that it's a little dangerous, so you don't want Mahomes out there or Kelsey taking the snap. Blake Bell may be too heavy to lift up and throw. But Clyde, you could do it with him. And so I think that is the perfect play.
Noah, expendable.
That is a perfect play, and I could see Andy Reid working on that. I like the play, and I like the play call. But since we are talking about Catapult Clyde, let's talk about the guy it deserves and got the game ball, and that's Isaiah Pacheco. 20 carries for 115 yards. My gosh, I didn't think I'd ever see that from a Chiefs back since Jamal left, Kareem's gone. But Pacheco's shown growth. I'm not going to compare Isaiah Pacheco to Jamal Charles, but I remember Jamal Charles' rookie season in 2008, where he would run the ball as fast as he can into the back of Brandon Albert. Once Jamal Charles got his vision with him, he was able to read the blocks. He was able to read where he could sidestep and make his move. I saw a lot of that Sunday with Isaiah Pacheco. I saw patience, and I saw the way his vision, the way he could bounce outside for 15, as well as follow Trey Smith for 48 yards and a touchdown.
A burst that we hadn't seen.
And I love what I'm seeing from Isaiah Pacheco. Noah and I had a chance to talk to him via Starcade Media on Memorial Day weekend. He's a great kid. He's got he's mature for his age. You know, he seemed real down to earth. The 300 kids in attendance that were surrounded him loved him, and it was great to talk to him. But you can really see the growth from Isaiah Pacheco. What did you see, Brian, from Isaiah on Sunday?
Man, I saw patience, I saw acceleration, I saw power, I saw will, I saw determination, I saw everything you want to see in a running back. He's similar. He's like Kareem Hunt. He's a faster Kareem Hunt. That's what I've always seen in him.
Good, but
what?
Not as good as Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I don't think he can catch like Kareem. He can't.
No, he can't. No, Kareem got better hands,
hurdle balance, all that.
But Pacheco has better power. I think they have equal balance, better speed from Pacheco, but better hands from Kareem Hunt, definitely. But the acceleration from Pacheco, man, like I said at the start of the show, it blew my mind how he literally ran past CJ Mosley, and I think it was Reed, the safety on the breakaway 48-yard run he had in the first quarter. He just popped out on the TV how fast he exploded out of that. And that's not the first time we've seen that from him. It just blows my mind seeing that from Pacheco. Oh yeah, Patrick Vick, the secret sauce, the thing that sealed the deal. That's the secret sauce with Patrick. If he wasn't able to run, if he wasn't as mobile as he is, he wouldn't be as effective. But the fact that Patrick can get down and he got the wheels on him to escape pressure, he's almost unstoppable, man. It's ridiculous.
From our friends at First Take, Nick Wright said maybe the most effective runner of a quarterback.
Yeah.
Not the best. We've got Lamar Jackson, you got Michael Vick back in the day. We've got Justin Fields and Josh Allen right now. But without the kneeling that the Chiefs often do because they're winning the game and salting it away, he's got the highest career yards per rush with 7.22. So maybe the most effective runner when he knows he has to run, runs at the right times when he has to, finds the hole and finds the first down marker, which is key.
Yeah, man, Pat just knows when to go and knows how to get out of trouble. Man, he just does it. He's like he's a fast, slow guy, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
He's just a fast, slow guy, and he catches a lot of guys off, like they were like, damn, he moved that fast. Like, it's so surprising. It's like when you play basketball and you say a guy has old man game. It's like you can't figure out, like, this dude's slow, but I can't guard him. You know what I'm
busting your ass.
Yeah. So you can't understand it. That's where Pat catches a lot of guys off guard because you're like, whoa, was that Patrick that just ran it by me like that for this big game? And that's why it's hard to, game plan for that because you already scared of the arm, the angles that he throws, the no look passes that you're like, you can't even really practice for him running. So it makes it so tough. But just to talk about Isaiah, man, I think this year he has added a wiggle to the running, like to him running. I think last year was kind of like, I'm going this way. You're going to have to try to tackle me. This year, he's actually juking guys, which is taking him, to the next level. And he's not Jamal Charles. He's more like, they said it on NBC, kind of like
Marshawn Lynch. Oh, I see a little of that too.
Yeah,
not as powerful.
Like Marshawn, just like he runs like very angry, with some wiggle now, and it makes it so tough for him, And then Marshawn wasn't the greatest, receiver. You couldn't line him up at receiver and he'll route you up and make a catch like a Kareem Hunt. So I think that we're looking at a guy that's similar to Marshawn, and it's great to have with Patrick Mahomes because. Why it didn't work with Clyde was that, or even Darrell Williams, those guys don't give you those big runs like that. It became more on Patrick having to make the play. So we're now with Pacheco. If you make a mistake, he's going to hit you for 48 yards, 50 yards, 60 yards, 70-yard touchdown if you make a mistake. We haven't had a back like that since Damian Williams, the year we won the Super Bowl. So it's just a great addition. But with, Patrick Vick out there, it makes the Chiefs even that much scarier. And hopefully we get a quarterback sneak. I know it was an accident, but hopefully that opened Andy's eyes to say, hey, maybe we can try it with him now. Hopefully we get that sneak. I like the catapult Clyde because he's a little guy and it'll be a different play that nobody's ready for.
If you can trust him to run for 22-yard first downs, then we can probably get under center and go for 1 yard. Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing there. No, I go back to the
Yeah, Mahomes needed one touchdown to get to 200, and he got one touchdown to get to 200. He did it 84 games. Dan Marino did it in 89. This is another one of those stats that he breaks that I'm like, oh, it's more impressive that Dan Marino did that. But not to take anything away from Patrick Mahomes. He's great. But, man, what Dan was doing back then is insane. Never got a Super Bowl, so he's never going to get the credit. So I feel like I have to stick up for him. Some of these old quarterbacks that are getting shoved down by people, even John Elway. People are coming at John Elway, and I feel like I have to stick up for him. It's sickening. It makes me sick to my stomach, but that's what we do here. What?
Elway was the enemy.
Well, I know he was the enemy, but people are saying he was an awful quarterback, and that's like,
No, he wasn't awful, but he was the enemy.
fine.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at the rest of the enemy quarterbacks here in the AFC West, then, shall we?
Let's check them out.
Because, you know, I don't know if this is alarming. When you kind of
It is if you're a Raiders fan, but
well, that's not real.
Denver doesn't count. They've been losing every game, so of course your numbers are going to look a little like that. You know, you're trying to play catch up, and when you're
Russ
down,
is playing better though. Give credit. Russ is playing a little better.
No, he's playing a little better, but the stats are coming because they're losing every game. You know, they have to come back against the Bears to win the game. So that's how you get that number. Like, they can't play balanced football when you're always down 28-7 every game. So hopefully you can do some things to, you know, get your yards up and, you know, hopefully get some touchdowns. But shout out to him. He's looking better. Justin Herbert over here in LA, we already know what he does, but that team just always finds a way to lose games, and they almost did it to the Raiders.
I love it.
To Aiden O'Connell, I believe his name was. So none of those numbers really matter. It's about the wins, and it's about what you do when it matters most. And most of those guys, other than 15, when the game is on the line, they come up short.
I just like the backgrounds here of these stats. I got to go back to this because I'm a big fan. I'm like a seasonal person, and I'm someone that likes. I'm a visual person in general. So like when you look at the mountains, there where Russell Wilson is, the palm trees of California, where Michael and Justin Herbert are. I guess that's the fountains of Kansas City.
Yeah.
And then
what is this? What does this 9, 2, 7, 1, 8, and 4 even mean?
That's the TD interceptions.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't count. He's not a real quarterback. He's not going to play the whole year. He's going to be hurt off and on. He's just not. I am convinced, guys, that the Las Vegas Raiders brought in a good-looking Italian Jimmy Garoppolo to go around and hug grandmas in the crowd before games, because I saw it happen a week ago during the Raiders game when he played. I literally think that's what he came in to do, to come out, hug people. Look at this. He's a face of a franchise. He's not a real quarterback to me. I think they digressed from Derek Carr, although the Saints are kind of off to a shaky start. He has the injured shoulder. I think the Raiders are looking like that. They and the Broncos can battle it out for last place. I don't care. Flip a coin. I don't give a crap.
They need to tank for Caleb. That'll be like Caleb will actually like.
Caleb doesn't want to go there.
Don't even speak it.
Caleb does want to go to the Raiders. He's only got 5 teams, Michael, or he's heading back to the LA Coliseum in 2024, thanks to name, image, and likeness. He only the teams he wants to go to doesn't even really make sense. What do you say? The 49ers, the Giants, the Raiders, Cowboys. Well, most of them don't need quarterbacks. The Raiders, sure, maybe that would be terrible though.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
One last thing that I've got here, guys, before we kind of move on to the Vikings and that matchup, is just Patrick Mahomes after the game said those interceptions, he was sorry about those. He got greedy. And I was talking to Shane here earlier about why is he getting greedy? Is he bored? Is he tired of having to play like Alex Smith and take these checkdowns and the receivers aren't getting open? He's not having the explosive plays. Is that why Brett Veach doesn't give him the necessary weapons at receiver that he can have an explosive, fun offense? And he's getting tired and bored having to play like Alex Smith because he's a gunslinger. That's what he wants to do, and he can't do it. And this offense isn't meant to do it right now. So is that what he means when he's saying he's getting greedy?
Do I think he's getting greedy? I think he's always greedy. I mean, what did EB call him? He called him a selfish or a not
competitive
prick.
Competitive prick. So I think he as a quarterback, especially Patrick Mahomes, you always want to throw it deep. You always want the big ESPN highlight play. If Patrick Mahomes wins, that's all I care about. If he has a game where he looks like Alex Smith, maybe it's not going to be fun on the freaking stat sheet, and it's not going to be fun to talk about it because we'll look on ESPN and see that Josh Allen or Joe Burrow throw it deeper. But if Patrick Mahomes continues to win and we're having AFC championship games at home, then I'm good with it.
Yeah.
But I think he is greedy.
Yeah, I am.
I think there's nothing wrong with being greedy There's nothing wrong with it unless you make mistakes that cost you the game. If your greediness is costing you the game, it's a problem. But if your greediness,
but is that on Patrick Mahomes necessarily? Because that's who he's always been. Isn't that somewhat on Veach and these receivers and the
I wouldn't say Veach. I would say just it's who we are and where we're at, because if we really wanted to keep Tyreek Hill for the big ultimate weapon, we would have, but we moved along. What do you think, Brian?
EBE. Everybody eats.
I just went over it. Nobody
eats.
We just went over the
everybody eats
again.
Everybody eats, man.
This is not real.
Look, it is real. And look, man, everybody eats, man. Somebody has to get open. Somebody has to make plays.
Yeah.
The site adjustments we saw earlier with Sky Moore, that has to be better. The trust factor has to be better with Patrick and these receivers. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that we discussed earlier. The trust factor. He doesn't trust them yet. He's not trying to throw interceptions. He's not trying to make mistakes. So yeah, I think the longer we wait, the more patient we are, the more reps they have with each other. We'll see. I could be wrong, of course, but I'm just a man who looks at this thing as glass half full, and I like to see the best in guys, and I like to see guys fulfill their potential.
Well, that's no fun. You're not Rodney Harrison.
I'm seeing that coming true.
Call somebody garbage, Brian. Come on, do it.
We need Rodney Harrison for that.
If I'm right, I think the 2 interceptions were thrown towards tight ends. Am I right?
Yes,
I think
Noah Gray and Kelsey, yes.
So those are the guys he trusts the most right now. So that's why he's like, man, I'm going to try to force them the ball because I know that they can at least make a play to where the receivers have to do their jobs, getting open, making plays so that he can trust them. So he won't try to force it to Kelsey. He won't try to force it to Noah. But he's a natural gunslinger. Like, you expect for him to have some of these interceptions because he's going to believe – he believes in himself more than anything. If you guys seen the meme that they always put up of Kobe, it was him shooting over 5 guys. He trusts himself more than anybody. Pat trusts his ability, so he's going to make plays like that. And we just have to, deal with it and just hope that he doesn't do it, enough to lead to L's. But he hasn't so far. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champ. Do what you want, Patrick. We believe in you.
We do believe him, and I want to say this. Justin Ross has only had 2 targets. I mean, forget about anything I hyped him with. Take my fan page that's got a lot of followers for Justin Ross. Take that equation out of it. Justin Ross hype was brought up from the Chiefs and their social media, which started it last year as well. So the Chiefs have hyped up Justin Ross with all these incredible catches at OTAs. I'm watching him at the games and I'm watching him on TV. Patrick Mahomes isn't even looking at Justin Ross. He'll be out there and he'll run the route. Patrick Mahomes will throw to somebody else. I don't know why that's
usually lined up on the backside of the play. It's not designed to go to him unless things break down.
Micah, we're not watching the games. Yeah, we're not watching the games. Okay,
we're
bro.
watching them. We talked about it.
We're not watching the games.
Michael,
we do a show every week. We're not watching the games. Okay,
yeah,
bro.
I've missed several in a row, except none in the last 30 years.
Okay, bro.
Aside from that,
specifically to Justin Ross, I would like to see him get more than 1 target a game.
I agree.
Which has only had 2. So he's supposed to be this guy. And even if people could say, well, if you look at the all 22 footage, Justin Ross isn't getting open. If you look at his when he was 18 years old at Clemson as a true freshman, he was making catches in coverage. So I don't think Justin Ross has to get wide open. He can make the back shoulder throws. He can go up and get it. So I would like to see Patrick throw the ball into coverage where Justin Ross can use his tools, which is to go up and make the catch. That's what Justin Ross excelled at as an 18-year-old at Clemson. That's what he excelled at in all these OTAs. He's not open, but he's making moves. Justin Ross needs to get the football thrown his way, especially with the rest of the wide receivers not making a giant leap to be the number 1 wide receiver. None of them are. But Justin Ross is out there and he's got all these highlights on OTAs. Throw him the damn ball, Patrick. We believe in you. Let's see if he can make the plays that he did as a freshman when he was 18 at Clemson. What do you think, Noah? Talk to me.
I think his growth and development is going to take longer than some of these other guys not just the injury concerns. He's just not getting the snaps on the field. I think that's because they don't have as much invested in him as they do all these other guys. Rice, they spent a second-round pick. Moore, they spent a second-round pick. They got money in Watson, money in MVS, draft picks traded for Kadarius Toney. So that leaves Justin Ross all the way down the depth chart. They don't have as much invested, and he's not getting the snaps right now. And he's going to have to keep showing out in practice that he can be trusted. He is getting open, and he's too good to leave down at 5th or 6th option. Even though they don't have as much invested in him, he's going to have to make the coaches say, he's too good. I've got to put him out there. I've got to get him snaps above guys like maybe a Sky Moore. And that's going to be tough for him to do, I think, because they like what they see in these other guys and they have more invested in them. But we move on to the Minnesota Vikings, sins and sons. And we've got TJ Hawkins' son, Alexander Madison, Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, and then Kirk Cousins getting them the ball. They've got some weapons on offense that I worry about. Luckily for us, their defense is atrocious, and we will score every single possession. So Chiefs win. That's kind of my analysis.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you. All right, guys. We see you next.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. You got to worry. I mean, Justin Jefferson suffered what looked like could be a serious injury against the Los Angeles Chargers a week ago. Thankfully, he was okay after that play. He went down with like a non-contact injury in the end zone. That Minnesota Vikings fans just completely losing their minds after that. They had a get-right game when you play the Carolina Panthers, even with the sleek, Brian, the sleek black pants. They still got the get-right game for the Minnesota Vikings. And so that gives them some confidence. Tickets on StubHub, guys. Average ticket price is like $300 just to go to whatever the hell Bank Stadium in Minnesota to see the Vikings here. It's 6 hours north of us. But, guys, I'm not going. The Starcade Media LLC, we still got to pay taxes and keep it legal with the IRS. So no game for us. But, yeah, there you go. Justin Jefferson, the 543 yards. Looks like he's right on par there, just under what the Chiefs group has done, but we know what Justin Jefferson is, and we know what a threat he is, and we've known that for a couple years now.
I think receiver in the league.
The Vikings need this game. They've lost two heartbreakers where they should have won against Tampa Bay and the Chargers. They had the game right there for them. The Vikings are 1-3. This is a game they need. They're going to have their freaking home base on their side. There'll probably be a lot of Chiefs fans there in attendance. Vikings fans freaking came here 4 years ago and damn near had half the stadium. But
it was more than that, Shaggy. They had like 60% of Arrowhead. They sure did.
That makes no sense.
It's like the Chiefs fans knew, Patrick Mahomes ain't playing, Matt Moore's playing, and they sold their tickets to all the Vikings fans. But specifically to this Sunday, it's going to be a game. Kirk Cousins is going to play. This is going to be a game where he likes to say, "You like that?" This is a Kirk Cousins game with his weapons. They're going to come strong, and the Chiefs have to be on the Vikings level Sunday. It's paramount. Are we doing predictions now? If so, I'll give you mine.
Go ahead.
Yeah, hit us.
I think this game goes to the Minnesota Vikings. I think the Chiefs will be in it, but in the fourth quarter, they'll run out of gas, and the Vikings will win this 38-21.
What?
Wow. No. See, I might agree with you if they would have lost to who was they playing? Who did they play last week? The Panthers. Yeah. If they would have lost to the Panthers, I might have agreed with you this week. Nah, man. That ain't happening.
I just think this last thing I'll say. I think, like I said, the Vikings need it. Kirk Cousins is going to win it. And he's going to be saying, "You like that?" to all the fans in the media. Then after the game, he's going to grab his two kids and sit them by the fireplace and read them verbatim the book, The Little Train That Could.
Wow.
Because he's going to be the little train that could on Sunday. Of course, I love the Chiefs. They're going to be in the AFC Championship game at Arrowhead. Don't hate me, everybody. I just think this is the game that the Vikings win because they need it. What do you think, Michael?
I just think that the Vikings defense isn't as good as it has been. And, man, it's the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to go in there and take care of business. Isaiah Pacheco, I expect another big game from them. It's hard to look at that Panthers tape because the Panthers are so pathetic that, Harrison Smith led them in sacks last game with 3 sacks. This is not a defensive end. It's a safety. That's how bad Bryce Young and that offensive line is looking over there. This is Andy Reid and the Chiefs. They already took an L to the Lions. They understand what's coming with this matchup with the Vikings. So the Chiefs are going to be ready to go. But it's going to be a close one, 27-21. The Chiefs find a way to make it happen because, hey, just like we're talking, Shane, we're talking about how we felt Patrick looked. We felt the defense didn't play up to par. I think that they're hearing that too, and they're going to be ready to go. I don't know the word on Nick Bolton. I think that he's needed, back to help with the defense. But the Chiefs are going to be ready to play, and they're not going to lose to the Vikings.
38-20 Chiefs win. I can't wait to see the test for the defensive backs.
Yep.
I think that is going to be the key to this game. Can our young guys hold up against one of the most talented receiving corps in the league? Mm-hmm. They've done it against the Bengals. I think they can do it against the Vikings. Of course, they'll eat. Justin Jefferson, he'll get his best receiver in the league. Him and Kirk Cousins, that's a dynamite combo. But Kirk Cousins is immobile, and that fits well to what the Chiefs like to do on defense. Our defensive line is going to be on attack mode. It's going to be some Big Mac sacks. And here's the biggest thing. Kirk Cousins, he's cool. At 12, this game is at 325. Chiefs are winning this game by 18.
Yeah.
So this one, 38-27, Chiefs get the victory. It's going to be kind of tough sledding there. We still keep opponents under 30, but this offense, like I said, has a plethora of weapons, but they're not going to be able to stop us. Michael, I won our bet last week saying a wide receiver will not score a touchdown. This one, I will not bet you that because I think we could see some wide receiver touchdowns because the Vikings are that pathetic, whether it's an MVS, a Justin Watson, a Tony, probably not Sky Moore, but some of those guys like that. But the Vikings have a lot of issues, not just with their defense, but even on offense. They turn the ball over a lot. They've had a huge fumble problem plaguing them this season.
Yes,
I think
sir.
they had like 4 fumbles in one game. Maybe it was the Eagles game. They had 4 fumbles. And so they are a disaster up front. They don't have a running game. It relies all on Cousins and those weapons outside, whether it's Hawkinson, Addison, or Jefferson. So they're going to pose some problems. They're going to get to 27, but the Chiefs run roughshod over that defense, 38-27 Chiefs.
This is the Chiefs' first trip ever to U.S. Bank Stadium, Bank of the West Stadium. Commerce Bank Stadium. I cannot keep them straight, and
you got it right the first time.
Thank you. U.S. Bank Stadium. I know this. Prince is from Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's Purple Rain. It will not be that. So on Sunday, guys, if you remember the last time the Chiefs went to Minnesota, it was in 2015, and it was at the Minnesota Golden Gopher Stadium.
Terrible game.
The Chiefs took a loss there.
Johnny Bridgewater diced us up that game.
Noah and I were on our way back from the Mizzou
Teddy
Georgia
Bridgewater.
game. Teddy Bridgewater did. And this one, I never like to pick the Chiefs to score 30 at home because they only did it once last year. But this team's going on the road where typically the Chiefs have just been a better team on the road. And I like that to continue here, especially with a team down defensively. You're not going to have, you saw a couple of hits, the one against Kadarius Toney where it's like, man, that could be Kadarius Toney out for 6 weeks on those kind of plays. That's how physical the Jets were. That's not going to be the case. I think the Chiefs win it and they do score 30, but it's 30-23 Chiefs win. So 4-1
right.
tastes
good. All you guys are right. And I hope I'm wrong.
Okay. Yeah, and I think it would have been a much tougher game. If the Chiefs would have went into New York and just blew the Jets out, maybe they would have kind of been like,
it sure would have been.
Coming in like, they're the Vikings, they're playing bad. Let's get ready for Denver Thursday night. It's a divisional game. But because they played the way they did, Andy Reid is like, hey, we got something to prove because people talking about us, people even putting Buffalo ahead of us, in their power rankings. Let's come out here, show these guys what we made of. And then Patrick is like, hey, I've beaten everybody except for these guys. I need to pick up a win against them because I don't want to wait 4 years, So
the only team left at that point would be him joining the Broncos later on in his career and beating the Chiefs.
Man, chill, bro. Chill. Y'all got a bad habit of speaking these nasty, disgusting things into existence. What Michael said something earlier, and now you coming up with this bullshit. I had to cuss right there. I'm sorry. Don't you ever let that even enter your brain.
My mom just signed off.
Oh, my bad, Mrs. Swiper. Look, man, hey, don't ever let that creep into your mind. He's wearing red and gold forever. If he goes, don't do that, Noah.
Shane, you got to know this. The Kansas City Chiefs, as of the Jaguars game, set the NFL record for most games in a row, either won or lost by 4 points or less. A 17-point loss at Minnesota, that'd be like getting struck by lightning. It is not even on the table to happen.
It happened against the Tennessee Titans. My point is this. This is the last thing I'll say
Chiefs
about
have since broken the record since then. I mean,
okay, my prediction is this. There's, except for 2 years, there's always an October swoon. This is my prediction of swoonness for the Chiefs. The Vikings need a game like this, and I'm looking at it from their perspective to where the Chiefs are coming in. And the Chiefs got 2 games in the next 9 days, and it's going to be a short week, and they got to rebound to play Denver here on Thursday night. It's just how I feel it could happen. And we'll be back here next Tuesday.
We will.
What they'll happen. But I hope you guys are right and I am wrong. Please.
Fair enough.
Be right.
That's what you get here on Arrowhead Allies, guys. Thanks so much. Always follow every single guy here.
Run, Michael, before we sign off. Once we sign off, it's too late. You're done. You're drowning. It's not
Game is ending.
I'll drown.
Go Chiefs!